Hi, everybody. Welcome inside the CrossFit Update Studios. I'm Sean Woodland, alongside the man who has been to the CrossFit Games the last 2 years, where he has finished third. He is also currently studying to be a chiropractor at the Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College. He is, of course, Patrick Vellner. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what happened last year at the CrossFit Games. You finished third officially, but you didn't find out till after the fact because of what happened with Ricky Garrard. Does that make that third place finish in 2017 mean less than your one in 2016?
It changes it a little bit. It makes it a bittersweet, I think. But it's hard to put that much value in it. I mean, at this point, and when I found out, you're kind of already gearing up and thinking about the next year more than you are the past year. You don't get the luxury of resting on your laurels very long in this sport, and you're kind of only as good as your last year. So everyone's got to keep starting fresh and building for the next year. So yeah, it was unfortunate. I mean, I would have loved the opportunity to celebrate that a little bit more the time of, but I mean, months down the road, it all amounts to the same thing. So if anything, you have to try to let that motivate you for the next year.
You managed to finish on the podium the past 2 years, despite the fact that you were studying to be a chiropractor. How do you manage those two schedules?
With great difficulty most of the time. I tend to take my off season fairly seriously, and I spend a lot of time doing schoolwork during the months of September to January, and that sort of school takes up more space in my life, and then CrossFit takes up a little bit less. And then as we ramp up for the season and getting ready for the Open and the regionals and especially the games, I unfortunately let school drop a little bit more to the wayside and focus more on training. So it's super important that I do well in the earlier parts of the year and really work ahead as much as I can when I have the time. So it's sort of a balancing act, and yeah, it's a lot of balls to keep in the air, but I've found a way to make it work so far, and hopefully I can keep doing that in the future.
You and Brent Fikowski have become rivals just because of what we've seen happen at the games, but also some pretty good friends. What's the dynamic between the two of you like?
I think it's not much different than a lot of the other athletes either. I mean, we're rivals by virtue of the fact that we're chasing the same thing, but I think that we're both very happy to be representing Canada and having the chance to put Canada on the map in CrossFit and sort of revive everything in up north. So we're super fortunate and lucky to have the position we have, and we get along very well, and things like the Invitational help to consolidate those relationships and stuff. So it's fun. I mean, we help each other out as much as we can outside of competitions when we're directly facing each other, but that only happens once a year at the games, right? So it's important to not get so caught up in trying to beat everybody. Like, it's fun. I mean, half the fun in this is that you get to build cool relationships with people all over the place, and yeah, Brent's just been great. We've got along since before, and we've met before we started competing together at the games and sort of saw each other through the whole rise. So it's been fun. So we're lucky to have each other a little bit, and it's been great.
You don't have a lot of room to get better at the games, and back-to-back third-place finishes. How do you get better now in 2018?
You have to look at small things. Details become super important. And yeah, if you look globally at the overall leaderboard, yeah, there's not a lot of room for upward growth. But if you look individually at various events, and it's easy to find places where you let certain points slip and things to improve on. For me, easily, like swimming has been something that I've missed on the last couple of years that needs to improve. Some of my heavy weightlifting, some of my barbell stuff. Like, it's easy to find small things, and I think that's just how it has to be. Is you have to start to look at smaller and smaller details when you have less and less room, and that's where it comes down to. And I mean, it's such a game of seconds and 1 rep, 2 reps here and there. So that's the name of the game. You're shaving fractions and hairs of seconds. So it becomes very detail oriented.
One thing that is going to change for you this year is that Mat Fraser is no longer going to be competing in your regional, and you're actually disappointed about that. Why is that?
I like competing against Mat, and I don't like everyone else to have the chance to compete against Mat. I think it's no secret to anybody who's been involved in competition that you tend to elevate your game to the level of competition, or the best competitors tend to do that. So if you have the chance to race against who is going to be the man to beat for the year, then that's a huge advantage. You get to see him 2 months before everybody else, and you get to push yourself and see where you come short and where you maybe surpass, and then you get to take that home with you as homework, and you have 2 months to figure out what to do with it before the games. And so I think I competed better last year at regionals having had him there to chase. and to try to beat. So it's certainly a huge advantage in my eyes to have that. I mean, yeah, he takes a spot at the regional, but I think it's good if you want to push yourself and challenge yourself. Like, there's no better guy to do it against.
With that being said, why can Patrick Vellner be the 2018 fittest man on earth?
I think I have good competition sense and good competition skills. Coming back to my gymnastics background, I've been competing in individual sports for a long, long time, and I've really dealt with maybe like throwing a few events into the stands and not being able to compete well, and recovered from that. So the last couple of years, I've come into my own a little bit and become more confident in trying to chase wins and being more comfortable leading packs and not trying to stay back and chase. So I think the more ground I can get in that sort of thing, it'll help me over the course of the games. And we'll see. I mean, having the East Regional without Matt this year, I'm going to have an opportunity to try to lead a regional, say, or lead a competition from wire to wire. And I want to try to take advantage of that and get comfortable in the lead and just build that mentality and that confidence. But I think I have some skills that he doesn't have, and he's certainly got some that I do, but that's why it's fun. That's why you run the race.
We're looking forward to watching it. Pat, thanks so much for stopping by. Pat Vellner, the two-time third fittest man on earth.